All right.
All right.
So I know you had just had your first fight after the UFC, and I know the result wasn't what you wanted, but there was some bad blood coming into that fight. Can you talk with me about that a little bit?
Yeah, man. Before the fight, Carl came to the gym last year, and he asked me to, asked me to work with him in the gym, and help him, and he would help me. And we were good. We were good training partners for each other because we're the same size. Same. Carl's super tough guy. And then he got kicked out of the gym for doing some stupid shit. And then immediately, as soon as he got kicked out, he kind of back on me, bit me like a rattlesnake, and challenged me to a fight. I initially said no to one promoter, but he kept begging and begging and begging. So I was like, all right, you got the smoke. And, unfortunately, I think I let my emotions get the best of me in the fight. I didn't stick to the game plan. I just wanted to, it's the first time out of 75 MMA fights that, I've really had any bad blood, real bad blood. I mean, not talking shit, but bad blood. And, I just got away from the game plan. And, unfortunately, it was very immature, fight for me. Like I said, got away from the game plan, did what I wanted to do in the moment, and he took advantage of it. I let my emotions get the best of me, and unfortunately, I fell short to a decision.
So I went online, I went on Tapology, I think, and it said it was a 3-round fight, but it was for a title. So what's up with that? I know usually they do 5-round title fights.
I didn't care to fight 5 rounds, man. I mean, when you're in there, it's like, it's the longer you're in the cage, that you're taking years off, you're taking longevity off your career and your life. If I'm only getting paid, $1,000, I'm not fighting a 5-round fight. And if they have a problem with it, they can go fuck themselves. You know what I'm saying? Like 10 more minutes fighting in the cage. That's 10 more minutes to break my bones, to tear a ligament, to get cut, and I'm definitely not a pussy. I'm weathered, through and through, 75 MMA fights, so like I said, if we're fighting in the UFC, make it a 10-round fight. But guess what? We're fighting in a local promotion for $1,000. I mean, Carl and I just both agreed to 3 rounds.
So are you planning to stay at 155? I know you did, the UFC at 145 a couple of times, and now you went back up to 55. So is that your plan to stay at that weight class?
It's all about money, man. If a promotion wants to pay me the money to get down 145, no problem. I'll make the weight. But again, for $1,000, $2,000, it's just not worth putting myself through that kind of camp, because with the diet and then all the nutritional factors, my food during a fight camp costs more than $1,000, not to mention paying my coaches and stuff. So if the fight purse is, for Bellator, for Ryzen, for UFC, for one, if I decide to go to one, and it's over, 5 figures, 10,000, I'll go down to 145. But until we reach that mark, I'm going to stay at 155 or a catch weight.
Would that same thing stand for going up a weight class to 70? Would you have those same thoughts?
Oh yeah, definitely. I'll fight 170. I can fight 170 right now. I'm under 170 right now. I have fought 70 before. I'm just getting old, man. Weight cuts are getting harder and harder and harder. And I mean, essentially cutting down to 145, I'm taking years off my life, because they're so hard. And I don't want to do it for $1,000. Like I want it to be life-changing at least, and I'm not saying $10,000 is life-changing, but it can put me on easy street for a long time.
So you bring a good thing up with One Championship. And while we're talking about the weight, I know One Championship has their hydration kind of policy that they do when it comes to weight cutting and everything. Sure. So that's got to be, interesting for you if you were to take a fight in that promotion. What are your thoughts on that?
I honestly, this is the first I heard of it. I had no idea One. I haven't followed One very well. I have a good friend of mine that fights in One. So I'm not sure what their hydration policy is. The Monkey God. What do you know about the Monkey God?
I know that their lightweight is 170. That's why.
Oh, no shit. Really? Okay.
You're lightweight at 155, and we're familiar with all that. And so over there it's 170, and then like 45 is the bantamweight. John Lineker just won their belt, a few days back. So I didn't know what you had thoughts on maybe fighting there.
That's new to me. I didn't know that. But yeah, man, show me the money, man. Who you want me to fight? Show me the money. I'll fight anybody, anytime, anywhere. I've proven it time and time again. I had 5 fights in the UFC in less than a year. or in 1 year, almost exactly 1 year. 4 of them being on short notice. You know, I've proven my durability. I've proven my toughness. I'm proving I'm a good fighter anytime, anywhere, but show me the fucking money now, man.
So do you have any plans to get back in the cage at any point in the immediate future?
Yeah, actually, I was scheduled to fight April 9th in Montana. Unfortunately, it fell through. Then I'm really pressing for a rematch with Carl Deaton. There's a couple things I want to do different, more mental stuff for me. Like I said, it was, going to that matchup was really emotional, and I really just wanted to hurt him. And, I think that was his game plan, was to get me off my game, because if I'm on my best, he can't beat me on my best. And, he got in my head, and I was just like, all right, I want to hurt this motherfucker. Instead of taking the technical approach and finding better spots, I just wanted to brawl with him and fight this guy. And, looking back, it was a mistake, but it is what it is, man. Mistakes were made, and I'm really pressing for the rematch. Carl thinks that he's going to be in the UFC. He's definitely not getting into the UFC. If he beats me twice, he has a much better chance. So hopefully in June, him and I can step back in the cage, and, I can implement a better game plan.
So, apart from just the not being emotional, like you've spoken about, what would you do differently if that rematch comes to fruition?
I'd focus more on the wrestling. And that's what Carl did. He got me in a brawling standpoint. And then when I'd overcommit on my shots, he was taking me down. And you know what? And Carl has 20 pro fights. He's 21. That was his 21 first pro fight. He's 16-5. He's experienced, and he could tell when I was going to overcommit on my shots. And he'd change his level, take me down. And then on the bottom, I really wasn't expecting him to take me down. So I really wasn't working on my wrestling game, or at least my bottom game. And, all in a day, unfortunately, I just got grinded out, and my leg got humped for, a couple rounds, and I lost the decision, man. It was a bummer. But yeah, I'd probably have more focus on the bottom wrestling, getting back up, because that's what I think he would do. He doesn't want to stand. He felt my power. There's a reason he took me down. He didn't want it. And, he did a great job adjusting, man. I don't like the guy. After the fight, he asked if he's like, hey, can we go on an elk hunt? I was like, fuck you, motherfucker. Like, no, we cannot go on an elk hunt. Like, dude, no, I'm not elk hunt. Like, but regardless, hats off to him. He did the right thing from a matchup standpoint. And, unfortunately, just what are you going to do?
Well, you've shown your power, at a very high level. Let's think back to the Frank Camacho fight when you debuted in the UFC on, like, what was it, 4 days? And you went and knocked him out in like 50 seconds.
Thursday, Friday. Yeah, 3-day notice, man. It was not to cut off before. 3 or 4 days, but yeah, 3-day notice, dude. You went in there. Frank has never been knocked out by a lightweight before, so I was happy to do it, and I was happy to do it quick. So I'm very honored about that. I think Frank's an awesome guy, but here's the difference between me and Frank: is he's still in the UFC and I'm not. So it is what it is.
It looks like you sent him back up though, because he had a fight booked for May, if I'm not mistaken, and he's back up to 170 now.
Yeah, I know he missed weight when we fought, so I know the weight cuts are getting hard. He's getting older. He has 25 or maybe even 30 pro fights. The weight cuts are probably just getting hard, like they are on me and like they are on everybody, man. We've been around for a long time, and they don't get any easier. You don't get used to cutting weight. They get harder every time.
You've moved back to the regional scene, and is there anybody out there apart from Carl Deaton that, would really get you going if you were to take a fight against that person?
On the regional scene, not really, man. I don't want to sound cocky by any means, and I don't mean this condescending by any means, but I've been off the regional scene for so long. I don't even know who's on the regional scene right now. You know what I mean? And I haven't been following it. Before I got to the UFC, I was always looking at fighters, looking at matchups. Who do I have to beat to get there? But, honestly, I've been off the regional scene for so long. I just don't know who's around. I don't know who's been picked up by Bellator. I don't know who's like Troy Lamson, one of my former opponents, super tough guy. He just got picked up by the PFL, so I couldn't even call him out. The only person I have in mind right now is Carl Deaton.
Would you like to go into the PFL with their, I know the money is big, but like the tournament format that they have with their Grand Prix, or even Bellator's Grand Prix, even though admittedly I'm not as familiar with those as I probably should be. Does that sort of a format for getting ready for a fight excite you?
Yeah, I love the PFL. So I'm very fortunate. I get to work with Ray Steffo at Extreme Couture on a weekly basis. I see him all the time. And I think they've done an incredible job by making they've made MMA a season sport now. You have your season, you have your playoffs, and I think that is just so awesome. I love the format. I would definitely jump in if he got me the opportunity. I don't know if he's going to give me the opportunity. Right before I got signed to the UFC, he offered me a spot on the season, and I turned it down because my goal was to get to the UFC. And I don't know if he's going to give me another one. If he does, I'll probably take it. But I'd really like to get back in the UFC and at least have one more contract in the UFC, get maybe 1 or 2 more full camps to really display what I can do, and then go from there. But, I turned down a Bellator contract in December, because my goal is to get back to the UFC, man. And not saying that PFL and Bellator aren't as good as the UFC, but unfortunately, I shouldn't say unfortunately, but my goals were to get to the UFC and be in the UFC. So we'll see. This whole next year is going to be, I have no idea what's to come for me. I don't know where I'm going to go. I don't know where I'm going to end up. I don't know when my next fight's going to be. I'm a scrambled mess right now, to be honest.
As far as the Bellator contract, what details can you tell us about that? I know the UFC, people are talking a lot about UFC contracts these days, like Francis Ngannou. Greg Hardy's contract ran out with his fight last week. What was their situation as far as what they were offering you?
I didn't even get into the details. My managers hit me up, said, "Hey, we have a short notice fight for Bellator this weekend. Do you want it?" And I just said no. So I didn't even ask how much. I'm sure the pay was at least 10 and 10. I'm sure by doing them a favor, they probably would have gave me a contract after the fight. But I didn't even want to know. I didn't even want to tempt myself with taking it because I hadn't been training. I've been off, getting ready. I wasn't even training at the time. I think that was, maybe it was either November or December. I can't remember, but I knew I wasn't in shape to go fight at a high level. And I know the opponent was really tough. So, that's all I knew. Again, I didn't even know where it was going to be. I didn't know how much it was going to be. They just said, "Do you want to fight this weekend?" I said no.
Do you know, can you tell us who the opponent was that they offered you to fight against?
I don't even know. My manager said it's a tough opponent. That's all he said. I probably could have looked it up, but I didn't care because it's like, oh, well, maybe if I do this with this guy, I can win this fight on short notice. I didn't even want to tempt myself or, because I'm a guy that wants to fight and a guy that wants to, show up and make money. And it was a better idea just to stay out of that whole mess.
So if Carl wanted to change things up for you on this rematch, like weight wise, I know we talked about 45 at the start of this and how, the money would have to be right. But like if he wanted to, try and duck you or something by trying to call your bluff with a 145-pound fight, is your dislike for him enough for you to take a fight at 45 with him?
Ooh, that's a good question. That's probably the best question I've been asked in a long time on a podcast. I commend you for that. Ooh.
Thank you.
I don't know if I don't know. I'd have to think about that one. That's a really, really solid question. And I don't want to give an answer because if Carl sees this, he can start game planning. And, I think so. You know what? I do think so. Like, especially if I get the money right. But here's the thing. He's the 155-pound champ. The champ has to defend his title. If he doesn't want to defend the 155-pound title, he's not the champ. So that's kind of the angle I'm playing right now. And again, taking years off my life to compete at a regional circuit. But here's the thing. The show in June for the TWC, the title that he owns, is at an Indian casino. Carl is a very proud Native American. And if he turns down Justin Jaynes in an Indian casino near his reservation, bazinga, you hear me? Like, come on, bazinga. Like, show up or fucking blow up, you pussy.
So last thing, I always ask this question. I've talked to a couple of guys that have been in the UFC before, and I'm now going to ask you this. Do you have any specific plan for as far as getting back in the UFC, something that you think that you need to do, like what type of wins you need to string together, how many or anything like that?
Yeah, dude. I mean, to get back to the UFC, I need 3 wins. I need to fight 3 times this year. I need to win. I don't want to take much time off. I'm getting right back in the gym. As you can see, I still have my camouflage. I just jumped off the plane doing a rattlesnake and a pig hunt in Texas. I'm jumping right back in the gym. I'm going to work on getting in shape. I'm going to try and knock out 2 or 3 fights by the end of the year. If I lose another fight, maybe I'll just fight on the regional circuit and, explore other options to make money because I'm 32 years old, man. I'm not getting any younger and the money's getting shorter and shorter and shorter. So, if I lose any more fights before getting back to the UFC or Bellator or anything of that nature, I'll probably just, start fighting as a hobby back on the regional circuit and start exploring other options for a career.
That wraps up what I had for you this time around, man. Great stuff. I really appreciate your time, man, and I do wish you the best for the future.
Thanks, man. I appreciate you. I'll talk to you soon.